Hello and welcome to Blaku, where we're Bible lovers, achieving Christ's knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. Join back with me again is Sandy and Gina and you too, audience, as we're on lesson number 13, asking the question, what time is it? And we're going to be talking about it's a time to process. Uh, Sandy, quickly share with us, what does the word process mean? What does that mean, real quickly?
Okay, it's like you have a task to do or something
Mm-hmm.
in your life to do. So from beginning to the end of
Mm-hmm.
making this process take place is the time that it is. And so like, your process to get ready to go to work in the morning and go to work, or your process to cook a meal, or like we
Mm-hmm.
used in our other class, a process to bake a cake. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a time frame in which to get something done. It's a process.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to see today, audience. Join us as we go through these scriptures and we're going to take a look. Who is the scripture talking about and what's happening in their time of process? All right, then. Sister Sandy, let's go to Exodus. We're going to have you start us off. Exodus chapter 2.
Okay,
Okay.
23 and 24.
You
Okay.
got it.
Okay, and it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of their bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of their bondage. And God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. So this is a story that the Israelites were in bondage in Egypt for 400 years, and
Mm-hmm.
so when the king of Egypt died, they just wanted out. They wanted out. So they cried to the Lord and cried to the Lord. And the Lord heard their cries, and he knew that he had a covenant with their father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this is the beginning process to remove them out of Egypt, to take them on their journey. So this is a real long process. 400 years bondage
Yeah.
and another 40 plus years to get them to the promised land. So this is a really long
Yep.
process.
That talk about a process, huh? But that goes to show us, although we may go through things in our life and it seems like it's taken forever, but just hold on. God is at the end of it. He's at the end of your
Mhm.
process. But we go through the process of life to not be bitter, but we ought to be learning something. Even when it's negative, even when you're in bondage, you can find some positive in that. And that will keep you going to get to God at the end of the process. And we saw that they made it to the promised land. Took 440 years, but they got there. So no different than us today. We got a process. God has given us a time frame is about what, 80 years at the most. What are we
Mhm.
doing from birth to the 80 years? What's happening? What's being processed? So, Gina, let's have you to take us to the last scripture. Let's go to Judges chapter 11. And then, Gina, we're going to have you to read quickly for us. Let's do 3 and 4 because I'm sure you know the gist of this. So let's do 3 and 4 based on the time that we have.
Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain men to Jephthah and went out with him. And it came to pass in the process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. Okay, this is in Judges, so it's the story of Jephthah. Now Jephthah was not he was from the father but had a different mother than the wife. So he was actually thrown out of the family at that time because things happen sometimes. Maybe the wife was jealous and anyway, so he had to go out of the family. He kind of like was ostracized, or he was put
There you
out.
go. I like that.
And so, but there came a time, and now notice in Judges 1:1, I mean, sorry, 11:1, Jephthah is a mighty man of valor. So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he has some characteristics. He's a mighty man, right? But
Mm-hmm.
now he's out of the family. So there came a time that the children of Ammon were coming to make war against Israel.
Right.
So in the process of time, what happened? Israel went to look for Jephthah
Mm-hmm.
because they needed him.
Right.
So what was processing is, even though he was outside of the family, or he was, he was processing somewhere else. He found his other mighty men, vain men, other men. I guess they had made like a little group. And in the process of time, they called Jephthah back to Israel to fight for them. So regardless of if you're, it doesn't look like, say your family situation is not so great, or, things aren't going the way that you think that they should be going, in the process of time, you can come into your destiny and your might and your valor within your family. So don't be dismayed if things aren't going quite the way you're looking at it, because it just may be the process of time.
Exactly. Very good. So here we can see, even within our own family, I like the word you use, ostracized, and we be thrown out, maybe because of our sexuality. It could be who we choose to marry. It could be our political affiliation. It doesn't matter what we go through in this life. It's going to be a what? Process. I use the homeless people. A lot of us don't know that we was going to be homeless, but what are we doing in that process? What are we doing when we are on the streets, when we have no resources? What are we doing in that process? Are we going to get out of that bondage? Are we holding on to God like the Israelites were? Are we going to have to wait so many years? And even when we do, it's going to be good at the end. But you got to go through the process, just like you bake a cake. Boy, it smells good when it's in the oven, but boy, it tastes even better when you eat it at the end of the process. All right, then, audience, thank you for joining us today. We are out of time on lesson number 13. You don't want to miss next week, where we got another great lesson asking the question, what time is it? All right. God bless you. I'm Minister Love with Sister Sandy, representing SourceOutreachMinistries.com. We have Sister Gina with BlackHoopMinistries.com, and I'm Minister Love and representing MyBibleRegistration.com. Check out all the websites. We got great lessons on each and every one. God bless you all. See you this time next week. Goodbye.